I like to camp alone, solo, like a lone wolf. A lone wolf who's been asked politely by the pack to leave. People ask me, aren't you scared to camp alone? And I have to say, yes, it's frightening sometimes, truthfully, but sometimes it's also amazing. But most of all, especially if you're on the move, like on a bike tour, it gives you freedom, unless you're in Nova Scotia and they close the woods on you. Anyhow, these are my tips for getting out there, embracing the fear, facing the fear through exposing yourself to the fear. I'm not going to tell you the bear attacks only happen at this rate or that rate. I want to acknowledge the risks. There are lots of risks to camping. Yes, a bear could eat you. We have to be okay with that. We also have to be okay that we could get hypothermia, Lyme disease, malaria. A branch could fall on us. We could get flooded out. Snakes, brain-eating amoebas. We want to assume that that 500-pound bear in the woods is not more scared of you than you are of him. He can smell you 20 miles away, and he will eat you, and you will fit in his stomach. We don't want to rely on the rarity of those events occurring to keep us safe, so have good camping practices. For animals, secure your food, look for evidence of wildlife, like this tree in front of me that I just noticed has gnawing, scratching marks all over it. Keep anything with odor away. You'd be surprised what has odor. My skin looks terrible right now because I can't follow my Korean skincare routine or it'll attract a bear. You want to be careful with things like blood. For other risks, let people know where you are. I didn't tell anyone where I am right now, but you want to tell people where you are so they can find you dead or alive. Educate yourself about the area. Scout it out if you can. If not, check the weather. If it's a new country or something, check the new risks. Are there new diseases? Are there people? People can be very dangerous too. The point is, there are lots of things we can do to keep ourselves safe. Let us assume now that you're a responsible camper. Now we can focus on the psychology. I'm not trying to give you psychological tricks, although I will have some of those. We are not using tricks. We are facing the fear through exposure. That means our subconscious mind needs to get used to this to integrate it. There are two ways to get comfortable with solo wild camping. One is to gradually ease your soft suburbanite mind into the woods alone. And the other is just trial by fire. Just go out there and do it. We'll start with the gradual first because that's what's going to work with most of you. That's what works with me. So set up where you're comfortable. Set up in your house if you have to. In increments, we move from where we're comfortable to where we're uncomfortable. And then eventually, before you know it, you're out there sleeping with Bigfoot. And more on that later. Maybe you don't have access to any of that, or maybe you can't afford it, or maybe you're just impatient. So in that case, we would just go to trial by fire. And in that case, you just get your friend to, drive you out as far as you can that's reasonable to somewhere that looks scary to camp. Somewhere safe, make sure it's safe, but somewhere scary. Remember, we have good camping practices. You could up the fear. You could get your friend to randomly visit you in the night dressed as a bear. If that thought makes you anxious, then that's just proof that it's a fear. It's a fear of fear. And the fear that's left is just your responsible fear, the reasonable fear that we want to have that keeps us safe. I'm actually to the point now where I'm less scared of bears and more scared of people in bear costumes. Just know that your comfort levels can fluctuate seasonally or depending on where you are or the season of your life. For example, camping in the UK, I didn't have to worry about the same kind of animals there as I do here. It kind of made me soft for when I came back here. It was quite shocking when I went right into the wilderness in Cape Breton. I met a lot of wildlife there. There were raccoons going on in my hammock. There was a large mammal that could climb trees that was right next to me. There were coy wolves howling out there. There was a lot. I didn't sleep that night. There was also this really loud whacking on the trees. It sounded like a baseball bat hitting the trees as hard as it could. or maybe rocks. I'm not sure. It was so loud it would wake me up every 15 minutes, so I couldn't sleep even if I wanted to. I don't know what that was. I'm pretty sure it was Bigfoot. But with that being said, you don't want to traumatize yourself. You don't want to go too far. You want to know your limits. I have a hard limit right now. I know for sure that I don't want to camp anywhere in grizzly country. Maybe, okay, maybe all of this is fine. You understand that exposure is the best way. But what about your intrusive thoughts and your anxiety? I've had an anxiety and overthinking problem all my life, but I can do this. I can solo wild camp, so it's possible. Do you know how much I overthought this video and it probably doesn't even matter? Exposure helps, but maybe if you're an anxious overthinker like me, you want to be a little more gradual. Maybe avoid the trial by fire. Maybe be a little more gradual. And on top of that, there are a few little mental tricks we can use. Not to be delusional about our situation. We don't want to forget our healthy fear, but we have some mental tricks we can do to help us. One thing I like to do is I like to mentally reframe things. Like I look forward to the prospect of seeing wildlife. Wouldn't it be neat if I caught a bear on video right now behind me or something stalking me? You guys would know before me, or would I ever know? Also, another thing you can do is you can treat it like home. Do what you would do at home, like meditation, journaling, reading. Don't don't be reading like electronics, though. That's not what we're here for. We're not here to read Reddit in the middle of the woods. But another thing I like to do is I like to listen to my gut. I like to camp in place with good vibes, as they say. Some places just give me the willies, and I think there's a deep evolutionary reason for that. I think probably good to listen to your gut in those situations. So camping in a place where it feels safer, even if there's no logical explanation, I think that's helpful for your psychology, and I believe it's helpful for your safety too. I think we have more intelligence in our subconscious than we even realize. You also want to make sure it feels psychologically comfortable to get out of your tent or hammock, your shelter at night, like where you're looking when you go out, get out to pee. You want a good pee strategy. Where you're looking, you don't want it to be scary. Your overthinking and intrusive thought might give you fear of supernatural things. Now, here's the thing about this. I've seen some stuff. There's some stuff out there. I don't know. Again, the same strategies we apply, the exposure and the precautions. You can take precautions against supernatural things. You can research the area. You know, don't go camping next to a military base where they do all these experiments. Research hauntings in the area, whatever you have to do. We have to accept that these things could exist. We don't want to be delusional. You don't want to be caught by surprise if this stuff does exist. Accept that it exists. Live with the fact that it exists. I know that ET still lives under my bed from childhood, but I just have to keep my toes under the blanket and it's fine. Aside from intrusive thoughts, your biology matters. Your mental health is directly impacted by your physical health. So why not eat healthfully? Eat a lot of carbs, by the way. When you wake up in the middle of the night, it's a lot of the time is because you haven't eaten enough carbs and you're getting a cortisol spike and it's keeping you up at night. So we'll be more relaxed if we, have a nice carb crash. Especially on a day on a bike tour, you've burned all your calories. Have you ever fasted before and tried to sleep? It's kind of like that. So I make sure to eat my face off before I go to bed so I can get a good sleep. And that being said, don't sedate yourself. I mean, food is one thing, but don't use drugs and alcohol to get over this. Our subconscious mind relies on a sober mind to integrate this stuff. The exposure won't work if you're constantly pushing it down with alcohol. We want to face our inner demons. We want to face our outer demons. This is how we don't do drugs. Drugs are bad. Short term, the drugs and alcohol, maybe it'll help you sleep, but in the long term, it's not going to help you get exposed to camping in the way we want to, or your physical or mental health. Also with drugs and alcohol, can you imagine being in the middle of the woods and being impaired? Can you imagine what if a cougar came after you? How would you deal with a cougar if you're drunk? I actually have an experience with this 20 years ago in Florida. I was in Orlando and there was a cougar very interested in me. She almost got me back to her den. Anyway, there we have it. I'm hopeful that what you took away from this is for solo wild camping. The best things are safety and preparedness, and then exposure of your psychology to it, right? And then maybe some psychological hacks if you're extra anxious. But really, the best tip I could give you is don't go camping alone. If you're on a bike tour or something, bring someone along with you. Don't go alone. Some of us poor souls don't have any friends. We can't do it. And nobody will do it with me. So you could show me that somebody likes me by liking my video. At least dislike it to acknowledge my existence. I'm an influencer now with tens of subscribers. I crave attention.